In this video of Beijing, China, I will show you and describe what are the restrictions on photography in Beijing, how to visit Tiananmen Square in Beijing, challenges of navigating Beijing using Google Maps, finding American brand restaurants in Beijing, the famous CCTV Building in Beijing, and Health Park, a hidden gem in Beijing. So please stay tuned to my video. Please remember to post a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you can always get my latest travel videos. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Beijing, China. In this video of Beijing, China, I'm going to show you around, describe how I got there, and also I'm going to give you traveler's tips. So I hope you follow along and please stay tuned. This gorgeous building is the National Center for the Performing Arts. It's an absolutely stunning modern building, and it is located directly across the road from the National Assembly of China. Now, a few interesting traveler's tips about Beijing, China. First there's a difference between Shanghai, China and Beijing. Shanghai is very cosmopolitan, very Western. Beijing is very Chinese. However, what's interesting is that this is a good traveler's tip. You can get on and off the metro in Beijing, China, by just simply tapping your Western credit card, your MasterCard or Visa. And there's nothing to it. I'm just walking around the National Center for the Performing Arts, admiring this beautiful building and trying to find the front entrance. But it is surrounded by an absolutely gorgeous park, which is totally clean. You can see what I mean when I said that Beijing is very Chinese compared to Shanghai. Shanghai buildings are European, post-Renaissance European, and also ultra-modern, but this is typical for Beijing. Now, as a Westerner, you're probably a little nervous if you've never been here before as to where you can photograph and where you can't. And the answer is you can photograph everywhere. They have barricades that separate you from places that they don't want you to enter. But unless you climb over a fence and climb over a barricade, you can go anywhere and photograph anywhere, including the Parliament, which I've done and that I've shown you. And it's interesting that I've been to different countries, and you can follow along on my channel to find out different countries in the world do not allow you to film their Parliament. But in China they do. And that's a surprise to many of us. So I have circled most of this gorgeous building surrounded by a moat and a reflecting pond. And also, again, there is the Parliament of China. I still can't find an entrance to the Performing Arts Center. There you go. There's an entrance here. You just got to go this way through a beautiful park. And there's the entrance. So as you can see, I just photographed some police officers that are patrolling the area, and that's perfectly legal to do here. Now, because this is the national capital of China, and China is the largest country in the world, they will have security checks where they will check your passport, maybe when you're getting onto a metro or getting off. So make sure you bring your passport with you. A photocopy won't help you. They want to see your actual passport. Something you're gonna have to do if you're touring Beijing. There's one of the many places where they check ID before you enter the metro. I'm now inside the metro waiting to exit to Tiananmen Square. This is outside the metro at Tiananmen Square, and you can see the walled area. I'm in line for the next security check. Cleared that security check, now on to the next security check. So what I just showed you is a couple of security checks and also the line to check your passport and to allow you to exit the station. And I'm near Tiananmen Square. The third line that I could not get through is the security check to have a reservation to go into Tiananmen Square. Now, I should tell you that all the staff, the police, are extremely friendly, and they use translators, like digital translators on their phone. Not Google Translate, because Google is not really a thing here in China. To be very polite to you and explain what it is that you're going through. But apparently you need an appointment to get in. And there was a Japanese family just in front of me that spoke fluent English, and they explained that to me, and so they helped the guard. But you can't get into Tiananmen Square without an appointment. Sorry I couldn't show it to you. I'm now heading back in the subway to try to get to a different location. And it's a good time for me to tell you that the other thing that they do here is they x-ray your luggage, as they do in Shanghai, when you get onto the metro. However, here, if you have a bottle of water, you have to take that bottle of water out, and they have a special detector to make sure it's actually water. I'm back inside the subway, and here's Tiananmen Square. I think that's west, and I'm going to try to get to Tiananmen Square east, which is one stop over. And again, how I got onto the subway was tapping my Western credit card, my MasterCard. And you just tap that and get onto the subway and tap it when you get off. You can also use it to go to the airport, using the Airport Express. I checked that out this morning as well.
团队必须都是卡牌制毕业的学员。我说那
本次列车终点站是
我就。
So I'm back inside the subway. I did the best I could for you. I tried to go to the other side of Tiananmen Square, and it's the same thing. So you have a security lineup, they check your ID, your passport, and then after that they check your reservation. So I think it's a crowd control thing. They don't want too many people inside the square, and they only want people that have bought a ticket. So traveler's tip for you, if you do come to Beijing and you want to go to Tiananmen Square, you're going to have a reservation, get one online. Learn from my mistake. I just got off at Tiananmen metro station. I did that because I wanted to get up on the street and try to use my Google Maps to try to figure out where I am in the city. So that's why I'm doing it, and hopefully I'll be able to show you something interesting. Another difference between Shanghai Metro and Beijing Metro is Beijing Metro, most of the stations don't have public toilets, public restrooms. Shanghai, they all have them. So this is the exit of the metro station, and it's just an average neighborhood. I thought there was a temple here, but unfortunately it's about 30-minute walk away from here. So Google Maps does work in China, and you don't need a VPN. You just need a Western SIM card. It could be a international SIM that you buy, or you could just use your SIM card from home and pay the roaming charges. The Chinese government doesn't block your access to sites, including Google Maps. The challenge is that Google is not really a thing here in China. So you won't be able to get walking directions very clearly. Certainly transit directions won't work, because Google doesn't really make any advertising revenue here, because they're not a thing. There's other companies that operate here, and they have their own map software. So keep that in mind. And they're all Chinese, the other map companies, so it won't help you much. So this is what you have to do when you're in China, and especially Beijing, because Shanghai is a little bit more Western friendly. So they have clearly marked items on Google because they know there's a lot of Western tourists. Here in Beijing, not so much. I'm back inside the subway, and I'm going to take us to the Beijing railway station. Traditional Chinese art on the subway station walls. This is Beijing railway station. It's an absolutely beautiful building, gorgeous architecture in traditional Chinese style. And there's a massive square in front of the train station. I'm directly across the street from the Beijing train station, and you'll notice something. Notice the signs of that country inn. Notice the restaurants. And this is something unique about Beijing. Unlike many other cities in Asia and even in Shanghai, China, you don't see any American brands here. And so you can't find a KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, and I have not seen one of those yet. But I just wanted to show you, this is across from a major railway station where you would find those things. They don't have them here. The manager at my hotel told me that there was a KFC 6 years ago, but they went out of business. So I'm not really sure why, but you're going to have to deal with Chinese brands when you're here in Beijing primarily, just in case you're looking for American food as comfort food. So I just decided to get off at this station, Guomao Station. I did it because, as I said, Google Maps doesn't work really well here. There are no transit directions, so I've had to kind of estimate where the subway stations are versus the locations I wanted to film for you. Sorry I couldn't do Tiananmen Square. I had no idea that you can't go in there without a reservation. So I'm going to try to explore this street, which is near this metro station that I just showed you, and let's see what we can find. I think I see the famous building up ahead. I'm passing by a luxury mall with Yves Saint Laurent, Valentino, Tiffany, Hermes, and office towers. And as I said, I see the building up ahead, so I'll show it to you soon. The building is China World Trade Center. And again, there's that luxury mall on the main level. But look here. There's the CCTV Building. It's a pretty famous building. That's the central media control in China. I think you've seen it in images before. I have. I just wanted to see how big it looks, and just wanted to see it for myself. Notice how quietly the traffic moves. And I noticed this in Shanghai as well. No honking horns. No road rage. So as I suspected, the building is completely fenced off all around. It's an interesting design of building, CCTV. But there's no way in. Very beautiful cherry blossoms in front of the building. They are beautiful. But absolutely no way into that building. Well, yes, you're right. I was hoping to give you a tour of the CCTV building in Beijing, China. I'm sorry I couldn't accomplish that. The area near the CCTV building seems to be a financial hub for Beijing. Lots of tall buildings around, lots of impressive skyscrapers. That's the Shell building, like Shell gasoline. Got a Shell logo on the top. So keep in mind, this building behind me is what people refer to when they talk about Big Brother is watching. I love the traffic. People on bikes, scooters, and everybody seems to know when they're supposed to go. I'm just waiting for another pedestrian to cross the road so I know when to go. That guy's going. Well, I decided to follow the leader. So I'm in Beijing, China, within clear view of that CCTV building, and I just broke some traffic laws. A positive thing about Beijing is that just like Shanghai, the air is totally clean. There's no pollution. And the city is very green and is very clean. Beijing obviously has a very different vibe than Shanghai does because of the central government. And you could kind of feel it as you're around and as you go into the metro stations and so on. So you're perfectly safe here. In fact, probably you're very safe here, as long as you don't break any laws, which I don't think you would. But the good news is there was someone who advised me on the train. He said, don't be afraid of breaking laws. He said, you know, people like just happened there. People walk across the street and stuff like that, and you know, they turn left on a red light or something. You know, that's perfectly fine. Just don't hop over any fences, he said. Don't try to climb over a fence and try to take a picture. That's the only thing you should not do if you're here in Beijing. Look at all the e-bikes and scooters. And notice these little things that they have. That's for the people, so they put a little blanket around themselves when they're riding their bike, so you can cut down on the wind. I've seen them everywhere. But it's just a sea of bikes and e-bikes, some bicycles, and e-scooters. Just everywhere. Notice all the crowd control. They don't really have a lot of signs telling you where you can't walk, but they have fences where you can't walk. And obviously this is for pedestrians only, because a motorcycle couldn't get through here. So I'm going to be taking us into the mall. FAO Schwartz. a Lotus dealership. This old showroom has a new car smell. The driving console was in the center of the car. So it's a single driver. No passenger. It looks cool. So as I mentioned before in my videos from Shanghai, what surprised me about China after coming here is how many foreign vehicles there are. We have this opinion that has been imposed on us by our politicians and our media that China is a very protectionist country. They're totally not. The majority of the cars that I've seen are not Chinese made. The majority of the cars are European, Japanese, and American made, and British. And it does two things, I guess, for the Chinese government and the Chinese economy. It creates leverage when they negotiate with other countries. But also, the people here, they're quite well off, and so they just demand the best in the world. And I guess if we cut them off, they just figure out how to make that here, which is the peril, right? So this is how they pretty much create cooperation between nations. But this is not a protectionist country at all, which really surprised me during my visit here. I go back into the subway to our next destination. Hopefully I can figure out where I'm going. Unfortunately, I can't think of a better way to get around Beijing than by doing what I'm doing. I just have to figure out where I think the subway stations are and get off at them and try to show you what there is around there. It's kind of challenging because we in the West use Google Maps, and Google, as I said, is not a thing here. That's not a Chinese thing. That's not the Chinese government restricting you from Google Maps. It's just Google isn't very competitive here. So that's why I'm having to do what I'm doing. So hope you keep following along and stay tuned. See, I told you it was easy. Just in case you're wondering, in my humble opinion, from what I've observed, there's about 3 times as many security staff here in Beijing, in the areas I've been walking around, than there are in Shanghai. So most cities have CCTV cameras everywhere. You're videotaped everywhere you go. But this place has a lot of security. As I said, about 3 times as much as Shanghai. That's what I've noticed. So I was here, and I'm going to just go one stop over to here. I think I should be able to show you something there. By the way, that's a thing here in Beijing and in Shanghai, some stations, but definitely here in Beijing. A lot of the stations don't have any elevators. They just either have escalators or they have stairs. And sometimes the escalators don't go all the way to the top, as in this station. I'm assuming that with all the changes and improvements China is making in their society, ADA-approved buildings are coming. And they're probably maybe 5 to maybe maximum 10 years away, I guess. So this is what this area looks like. It's more office buildings, and it's got this nice boulevard. Which seems pedestrian friendly. Well, I hope my Google Maps is working. I'm sure it is. They don't offer directions like walking directions here. So you kind of have to look at the map, the Google map, and figure out where you are, and then kind of head in that direction. That's the only way to do it. So, you know, I'll show you what I can. Nice condo buildings overlooking this boulevard. It's interesting, both here and in Shanghai, everything is so well maintained, and you never see one of those orange and black cones that they use to close off roads or sections of a sidewalk. You don't see anything like that here. They just fix everything. And I have not seen any road closures, so the traffic moves very smoothly. So those are the positives of living in a totalitarian one-party society. So that's pretty typical. You saw a restaurant there. I have not seen one KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, or even a Pizza Hut. I saw 1 or 2 Starbucks. That's about it. But so if you're coming here and you want American comfort food because you don't know what you're going to be eating because you don't know how to read Chinese, you're going to be out of luck here. So plan for that. So just to elaborate on my prior comment, in Shanghai, all those foods are available. All those restaurants are available, and they're everywhere. In fact, there was a KFC attached to my hotel in Shanghai. And so it's extremely rare to not see American brand foods here in Asia. And Beijing is the first city I've seen that's like this. And it's a capital city. You know, if you travel and you follow my videos, you go to Bangkok, you'll see it there. You know, just everywhere you see those kinds of foods. You just don't see it here. That's just Beijing. Shanghai, you do see it. This must be a pretty upscale neighborhood. They've got barbed wire fences and brick walls with barbed wire fences. I don't know if those are government residents. Same with those up there. Barbed wire fences. Nice condos. And I'm walking by one now. Again, a brick wall, sentry tower, barbed wire fence, and a nice little hedge in between. I think we're in an embassy area. This must be a diplomatic area. So that building with the flag, that's the resident of the ambassador of Sri Lanka. I'm hopeful I see my destination up ahead. I know, I take you to all the nicest places, don't I? I'm trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't take you into Tiananmen Square. This place is way less crowded than Tiananmen Square and has little knickknacks and souvenirs you can buy. It's fairly peaceful and uncrowded. Beautiful, beautiful trees. Wow, looks gorgeous. Sacrifice to the sun god mural. So this is a really gorgeous park. It took me about 18 minutes to walk from the metro that I showed you. And it was rated as one of the top spots in Beijing when I looked it up. And so wanted to check it out. I love these trees. Oh, wow. This place is gorgeous. If you follow my channel, you know I love hidden gems like these. Beautiful spaces that are uncrowded, that the locals go to and they cherish. Cherry blossoms in bloom. Gorgeous trees. Look at these blossoms. Wow, look at the size of them. They're huge. Please leave a comment if you know what type of blossoms these are. Some in the white variety. It smells absolutely wonderful in here. Health Park. You could really feel the zen in here. Wow. So I hope you enjoyed my video of Beijing, China today. Please stay tuned for more of my travel videos, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe, post a like, and hit the notification bell for future videos.